Did you know that Wagner's Ring cycle takes 15 hours to perform? It makes it one of the longest pieces of music that's ever been created. And this epic tale of a cursed ring that grants unlimited power has captivated audiences for over 150 years, and it's inspired countless modern fantasy stories you know and love. Before The Lord of the Rings or Game of Thrones, there was the Ring of Nibelung. It's a story that's so powerful that it changed how we think about fantasy forever. So today we're going to talk about why this single piece of jewelry became the most dangerous object in all of mythology and how its influence shaped everything from Tolkien's Middle-earth to the Iron Throne. Deep beneath the waters of the Rhine River, three mystical maidens guarded a priceless treasure, pure gold that glowed with magical radiance. Their only task was to protect this gold, swimming and playing carelessly in its golden light, until the dwarf Albric discovered their secret. The Rhine maidens teased and taunted Albric, playing a cruel game of seduction only to reject him harshly. In his bitter rage, Albric learned that anyone who renounced love could forge this gold into a ring of absolute power. And without hesitation, he cursed love itself, stole the Rhine gold, and crafted the ring that would bring the world to the edge of destruction. This ring wasn't just any magical object. It gave its wearer the power to rule the world, but at a terrible price. To gain such power, one had to completely reject love in all its forms. Albric's choice to forge the ring set in motion a chain of events that would entangle gods, heroes, and mortals in a web of greed, betrayal, and destruction. The ring's power seemed limitless. Whoever possessed it could command unlimited wealth and armies of slaves through its magic. But Albric's bitter curse ensured that anyone who held the ring would be consumed by paranoia and greed until death found them. Just like the One Ring that corrupted Gollum or the Iron Throne that destroyed countless lives, this golden band brought only suffering to those who claimed it. It's like a monkey's paw, a wish that gives you everything you want but twists your desires into torture. The ring's bearer could conjure endless riches, but would never know joy in their wealth. They could command others to serve them, but would forever be alone, unable to trust anyone. This is why the Ring's story still captivates us today. It warns us about the price of unchecked ambition and the emptiness of power without love. The curse worked its way through the world like a poison. Gods, giants, and heroes all succumbed to its influence, each convinced that they could master the Ring's power without paying its price. But the ring answered to only one master, greed itself. Like a virus of the soul, it infected everyone who touched it with an insatiable hunger for more power, more wealth, and more control until nothing else mattered. Every culture has stories warning about the corrupting nature of absolute power, but the Ring of Nibelung shows us exactly how that corruption works. Not through some external force, but through our own desires turned against us. The ring doesn't force anyone to be evil, it simply reveals the darkness already hiding in their hearts. High in the halls of Valhalla, Odin, in this case, or in the ring cycle, it's pronounced Wotan, faced a terrible dilemma. He had promised to pay the giants Fasolt and Fafnir with Freya, the goddess of youth and beauty, in exchange for building his mighty fortress. Without Freya's golden apples keeping the gods eternally young, they would wither and die, and Odin needed to find another payment and fast. When Loge, the crafty god of fire, told Odin about Albric's Ring of Power, the king of gods saw his chance. Here was something surely worth more than Freya. But Odin's attempt to negotiate went horribly wrong. The giants, learning of the ring's power, demanded it as payment instead of Freya. The gods were forced to descend into Nibelheim and steal the ring from Albric through trickery. Even after Odin claimed the ring, he couldn't bring himself to give it up. The same greed that corrupted Albric now worked its way into the king of the gods. Only when Urda, the all-knowing earth goddess, appeared with dire warnings of the gods' destruction, did Odin finally surrender the ring to the giants. But the curse struck immediately. Fafnir killed his own brother Fasolt in a dispute over how to divide their payment. Now the ring lay in Fafnir's hoard. Fafnir had been transformed into a dragon by dark magic, and Odin simply couldn't forget about the ring. The ring's power had shown him his own weakness, and the prophecy of the gods' doom haunted his thoughts. He began plotting complex schemes to reclaim the ring while avoiding its curse, setting in motion a chain of events that would eventually lead to catastrophe. The king of the gods had become a slave to the very power he sought to control. Into this web of divine intrigue stepped the mortal twins Sigmund and Siglind, separated in childhood and reunited by fate. Fleeing from an arranged marriage, Sieglind found herself trapped in a loveless union with the warrior Hunding, while Sigmund grew into a fierce warrior who fought against cruelty and injustice. Their paths crossed one stormy night when Sigmund, wounded and weaponless, sought shelter in Hunding's hall. Between them bloomed a forbidden love, deepened by the discovery of their true identity as twins. In their greatest hour of need, they found Nothung, a magical sword that Odin himself had plunged into a mighty ash tree, waiting for a hero worthy to pull it free. Sigmund drew forth the blade, ready to defend their love against the world. But their happiness was short-lived. Odin's favorite daughter, the Valkyrie Brunhilde, the warrior maiden who carried fallen heroes to Valhalla, was ordered to ensure Sigmund's death in his upcoming battle with Hunding. Yet, when she saw the depth of the twins' love and suffering, she defied her father's command. Moved by compassion, Brunhilde chose to protect Sigmund instead, and Odin's rage at this betrayal shook the heavens. He intervened personally in the battle, shattering Nothung with his spear and leaving Sigmund defenseless against Hunding's killing blow. As punishment for her disobedience, he condemned Brunhilde to sleep on a fire-ringed mountain, stripped of her godhood, destined to become the wife of whatever mortal man found and awakened her. Raised in the depths of the forest by the cunning dwarf Mime, Siegfried grew into a fearless young hero who had never known the meaning of fear. Unlike his treacherous foster father, Siegfried possessed a pure heart and insurmountable strength, capable of defeating even the fiercest beasts that roam the wilderness. When Siegfried discovered the broken piece of his father's sword, Nothung, he reforged the legendary blade stronger than ever before. With this weapon, he confronted and slew Fafnir, the dragon who had once been a giant, and claimed the ring and the Nibelung's treasure. But upon tasting the dragon's blood, Siegfried gained the ability to understand the language of birds, who warned him of Mine's plan to poison him. After dispatching the treacherous dwarf, Siegfried followed the guidance of a forest bird to the Ring of Fire, where Brunhilde slept. Fearlessly crossing through the flames that had deterred all others, he discovered not a warrior but a woman, and for the first time in his life experienced fear, the fear of awakening her. When Brunhilde opened her eyes, these two who had never known fear found themselves transformed by love. Their joy seemed complete when Brunhilde gifted Siegfried the ring as a token of their love, unaware of its curse. Siegfried set out into the world to prove himself worthy of her, wearing the ring that would ultimately seal his fate. Though he possessed unmatched strength and courage, even the greatest hero remained blind to the dark forces conspiring against him. The weight of the ring's curse finally reached its devastating crescendo. Through treachery and magic, Siegfried was betrayed, his memory of Brunhilde stolen, leading him to unwittingly give the ring to another. When the truth was revealed, it came too late. Siegfried fell to an assassin's spear, but in his dying moments his memory had returned, and with his last breath he spoke of his beloved Brunhilde's beauty. Understanding at last the full scope of the devastation wrought by the ring's power, Brunhilde took action that would shake the foundations of the world. She ordered a funeral pyre built for Siegfried, but this was more than a warrior's farewell. Taking the ring from Siegfried's lifeless hand, she rode her forced grain into the flames, carrying the ring back to its original guardians, the Rhine maidens waiting in the river below. As the flames rose higher, they spread to Valhalla itself, the great hall of the gods. The Rhine overflowed its banks, cleansing the world of the ring's curse as the old order crumbled. In this final act, Brunhilde succeeded where gods and heroes failed, not through the pursuit of power, but through an act of sacrifice and restoration. The ring's destruction marked the end of the gods' reign and the dawn of a new age, proving that only by relinquishing the hunger for power could peace finally be achieved. The Ring of Nibelung's influence echoes through the halls of modern fantasy like the ring's own haunting call. J.R.R. Tolkien's The Lord of the Rings bears unmistakable parallels. A ring of power that corrupts its bearers, the theme of renouncing power rather than wielding it, and even the final scene at Mount Doom mirrors Brunhilde's sacrificial plunge into the flames. Game of Thrones draws from the same well, with its intricate web of power struggles between gods, mortals, and supernatural forces. The complex family dynamics, betrayals, and the ultimate price of pursuing power at all costs reflects Wagner's epic tale. Even the fantasy genre's common tropes of cursed artifacts, dragons guarding treasures, and heroes facing impossible choices can trace their roots back to this Norse-inspired masterpiece. From Marvel's Thor comics to Neil Gaiman's American Gods, from Wagner-inspired metal music to countless video games, the Ring cycle's DNA is woven into the fabric of popular culture. Its central message about the corrupting nature of power and the strength found in sacrifice continues to resonate with modern audiences, proving that the century-old tale still holds vital truths about human nature and the choices we face. The endurance of the Ring of Nibelung's story proves that some truths about power, love, and human nature remain constant across centuries. In its intricate tale of gods and mortals, we see our own struggles with ambition, desire, and the choices that define us. The Ring's message is clear. True power often lies not in what we can grasp, but in what we have the wisdom to let go. After all, whether we're discussing ancient Norse mythology or modern politics, the fundamental question remains the same. What price are we willing to pay for power? And can love truly conquer all? These are the timeless questions that Wagner's masterpiece continues to ask, and perhaps that's why it still captivates audiences today. The Ring of Nibelung stands as a testament to the power of storytelling itself, how a single tale can evolve, inspire, and shape our cultural imagination for generations to come. In the end, like the ring returning to the depths of the Rhine, these eternal themes of love, power, and sacrifice continue to flow through the currents of our collective consciousness.